Thank you for being with me and taking the time to subscribe to this weather community. I appreciate it very much. All right, I want to show you June into July. We're going to look ahead, the rest of June into July, the long-term outlook right here. We'll look at the U.S. East Coast where there's that little spin up near the Carolinas, the big buildup of rain through the Caribbean that we're going to have over the next 10 days. Another round of dust coming off the coast of Africa, and on the eastern Pacific side, Barbara is trying to develop. We've had a lot of rain overnight and this morning in parts of Central America. There's that spin off the coast of the Carolinas. I'm still not seeing a high chance of development with it. I'll show it to you. We're going to zoom down to many locations. Now this here is the rest of June where you're seeing the greens and the blues. That's just not rain. That's above average rain. Where you're seeing these tans or oranges or yellows, whatever you want to call them, that's below average rain. Much of the southeast U.S., back toward parts of Texas, Louisiana, Mexico, Central America, above average rain this month as expected. And we'll get a little uptick. I'll show you that as well in parts of the eastern Caribbean. Then as we work our way into July, much of the Caribbean as a whole is above average and parts of the Gulf. So we're going to be watching out for any development close to home because we're going to have some above average rain in very warm water temperatures, but there's other ingredients. We get surges of dust and dry air that could limit some activity. On the flip side, those water temperatures are very, very warm. I'll show you those in just a moment. So let's go out in time here as we track the possibility of some development. This here should develop in the eastern Caribbean. I'll zoom into the eastern Pacific side in a moment. Watching out for heavier rain, parts of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, for example. And we're going to see some spotty showers trying to sneak in for us. Parts of Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, our rain chance is going to go up over towards St. Vincent, back toward Grenada. Now, as we work our way into tomorrow or Friday, you see that rain again building in parts of the western Caribbean and into the eastern Caribbean. Another little impulse trying to move in. This is what will be developing over toward the eastern Pacific side, but there are some of those showers, spotty in nature. St. Lucia over towards St. Vincent the Grenadines, we'll be watching out for some of that rain that will be around at times. The bigger areas of rain, this one slides off toward the west, and then we get a surge of moisture in the western Caribbean. That keeps a lot of rain in play for Central America. I'm highly concerned about additional flooding and mudslides for many of us in Central America, parts of Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, south through Costa Rica and Panama. Let's go on time here further. This is by the time we get into Monday. There's some of the rain. But as I mentioned, while the American model was showing development in this a week ago, days ago, I was mentioning I'm not seeing big signs of development. That is right on track. So thank you for your trust. But I am watching this spot just to see if anything tries to spin up. But more of a focus will be that surge of moisture that really builds, not only in the western Caribbean, but look what happens by the middle of the month. Look at us in the eastern Caribbean, a higher chance of rain. Look how active this map is. Not seeing any big spin up, but when we get these big areas of rain that sit over some of these warm waters, we'll then need to watch together if anything does try to develop. But either way, we have a lot of rain for many of us coming our way. We know we don't need a named system to have big time flooding with those tropical downpours. I will be tracking that for you along with the chance of development. As expected, that chance of development along the southeast coast of the U.S. very low. It was always low, but we were talking about that sneaky little spin, and there it is, getting tied up into a front. Only a very brief opportunity for that to develop. Most likely it's not going to. All on track again. Here comes the front. Now, in the central parts of the U.S., there is going to be severe weather building again right into the end of the week through the weekend. Bigger storms. This front here draws this moisture coming off the Carolinas, lifting it right up toward the Atlantic region of Canada, where that rain chance will be increasing. Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, a higher chance of rain, and then swinging back toward Newfoundland. Quebec, we'll see, especially eastern side, that chance of rain. And there's that severe weather threat. Central U.S., it'll be day after day. Some of the spots will kind of change, but watching out for flooding and that tornado risk and gusty wind threat in parts of the central U.S. all the way through the weekend. Now, as we watch out for some signs of development, nothing huge, more so on the eastern Pacific side, but a little uptick. This is the behind the scenes look at the European model. In the western Caribbean, it's just saying by the middle of the month, about a 30 to 40% chance, maybe 50% chance of some development. That goes in hand with what I showed you on the American model. Remember how that rain just builds through the Caribbean. So it's not a surprise to see some of the models hinting at some development, because when we get those big areas of rain, we can get something spinning up. But this is what I'm watching. We could get things that spin up close to home this time of year, not off the coast of Africa, more so where we are. And with these warm water temperatures, we could have a day of a lot of rain, and then 2 days from that point, there could be some tropical system trying to develop. That's why I do this channel. I will be able to give you the heads up on everything that may or may not, hopefully not, come our way this season. But right near Cuba, over toward Jamaica, getting back toward even parts of Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, those water temperatures are pushing about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 31 degrees Celsius in spots. So when we get these blobs of rain sitting over that, yeah, something can gradually try to develop. Now the dust, as promised, that has worked in for a lot of us, parts of the Bahamas, Florida, Cuba. There is some of that dust around. Of course, it's mixed in with some of that cloud cover, but you may be feeling that. If you have any breathing issues, you may be feeling that a little bit worse for today. But look at this, coming off the coast of Africa, another surge of dust. It doesn't put a stop to the hurricane season. Hurricane season is so long. This month and next month, you just get these impulses of dust moving across. Doesn't mean anything can't develop. Last year, we had Beryl developing later in the month of June. But there's that next surge. So as we get into the upcoming weekend, this is by Saturday, it shouldn't be as thick as the one we just had, but another surge of dust will be working across. So I'll be tracking that for you as well. Here is what is trying to develop on the eastern Pacific side. There's two sets of names. Andrea is the first name on the Atlantic basin. That's the Atlantic, Gulf, and Caribbean. On the eastern Pacific, a different set of names. Alvin already developed. We tracked that together. This should become Barbara. It'll get very close to the Mexican coast, so I'll be watching that across Mexico. You see here, this is this weekend. Should be some development, especially by Sunday. I'll monitor just how close it gets, but even if it starts to swing in, I'm not seeing anything too strong, because like Alvin, as it lifts to the north, it encounters more of a hostile environment above our heads, and it encounters cooler water. So it should be weakening either way by the time we get into early next week. Nonetheless, if something were to kind of work its way into Mexico this time of year, that could mean some substantial flooding in some spots. And then right behind it, the eastern Pacific is going to stay active. We could see another third system trying to develop. Now watch the seas as these areas really start to form and develop. This little spot off the coast of the Carolinas building the seas, and then we'll watch the seas building here as well. That's what should become Barbara. And then you see the seas building. Here's Bermuda. Bermuda to the north through the Atlantic region of Canada, with that spin coming off of the Carolinas over the next couple of days. That's where most of the rain is. Elsewhere, scattered areas of rain. We'll see them through the Bahamas, over toward Cuba, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, hit or miss. We have some of that dust mixed in that will limit some of the rain, but a spotty shower. Haiti, the Dominican Republic, totals should be relatively low. Same thing, Puerto Rico, U.S. British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat. We get through Dominica, a passing shower. Now, as we get to the south, this is where we're going to see a better chance of rain, as I showed you in that model. Southeastern Caribbean, it is going to get more active through the end of the week. Trinidad, St. Vincent, Grenada, even St. Lucia and Barbados, the rain chance is going to go up. So we're going to start to get some totals of 50 millimeters of rain. Some spots could be even higher. So the rain chance starting to make a comeback for some of us, and then watching Guyana and Suriname with some totals around 75 millimeters of rain. This is a big problem spot. Central America with more of that rain, which is common this time of year. You get this spin that kind of develops here with that moisture, but parts of Guatemala all the way down through Costa Rica will have some spots for 3-day totals approaching 150 millimeters of rain. I showed you some of the video of some of the flooding yesterday in parts of Guatemala. Know that I am watching that, but giving you the heads up. Thank you for spreading the word about some of that intense rain in Central America. We swing back to the north. We'll be watching out for these fronts moving through the U.S., but central U.S., you see Oklahoma swinging back toward Arkansas, right into parts of Tennessee. That's where there'll be some high rain totals, 4 to 6 inches of rain into the upcoming weekend with those storms that will be developing. So a 30% chance of an isolated shower or storm for us in Jamaica. Cayman Islands, we're looking at about a 20% chance, but this is where it builds. You see by Saturday, Trinidad, we're going to be up to a 50% chance of rain, so it starts to gradually build as well in Barbados. Even over towards St. Lucia, we'll be up to a 40% chance of rain on Saturday. Southeastern Caribbean getting more active tomorrow and Saturday. Grenada, rain chance at 40%, and it will be gradually going up as well. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Rain chance about 20% today in Martinique, a 30% chance over the next few days in Dominica, passing shower possible, 30 to 40% chance as we work our way through Guadeloupe. Antigua, Barbuda, rain chance stays relatively limited. There'll be a couple showers around, 40% chance by Saturday, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat. Limited chance in Anguilla and St. Barts. Same thing for St. Martin, Saba, and Stasia. Rain chance about 20% the next few days. Pop-up shower storm, Puerto Rico. We're looking at a 30% chance, mainly dry. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, there'll be a couple little showers that will be nearby, nothing too widespread. Rain chance, northern Bahamas, still that better chance, but the rain chance has been will be trending down today, mainly dry. Turks and Caicos, 30 to 40% chance of a shower or storm. Right across the DR, we get back through Haiti, rain chance stays limited today and tomorrow, a 20% chance, 30 to 40% chance. Parts of Belize, we've finally been getting some rain. We're going to continue to see the rain chance gradually going up as we go throughout this month. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, rain chance stays low, 10 to 20% over the next couple of days. 60% chance of some of the rain in Guyana, watching out for the flooding, a 60 to 70% chance in building in Suriname once we get into the upcoming weekend. 40% chance, spotty shower storm across Cuba, of course, Costa Rica and Panama. I'll be watching your comments. Thank you for leaving the reports on what's going on in that flood potential. Nicaragua staying very active, a 60% chance. Rain threat will be building throughout parts of Honduras, monitoring the flooding, and we're doing that as well. Guatemala and El Salvador. 30 to 40% chance of some spotty showers and storms around Mexico City. Same thing as we work our way across the Yucatan Peninsula over toward Merida. Northern Colombia, 40 to 50% chance of rain. It will be building through the end of the week, especially eastern sections, northeastern sections of Venezuela. And then we'll keep an eye on these fronts that spin off the coast of the Carolinas, should be mainly to the north of Bermuda as we get into the weekend. So monitoring near the southeast U.S., but not seeing any big signs of development. Flooding rain through parts of Central America, rain building in the Western Caribbean. The development chance is a touch higher, and overall rain will be spreading throughout the month, especially mid-month throughout much of the Caribbean. The first named storm, that will be Andrea. Thank you for being part of this weather community. Have a great day ahead.